The War of the Gargantuas started out as a sequel to Frankenstein Conquers the World, which is one of the most dishonest titles in movie history because it doesn't feature Frankenstein and he doesn't conquer anything. Russ Tamblyn stars as a know-it-all scientist who, quote, studies giant animals. His assistant is played by Kumi Mizuno, who starred in Attack of the Mushroom People around this time, but here she's just the girl scientist and has none of the spark she had on Mushroom Island. After a series of maritime disasters, Tamblyn is called. He figures out the thing called a gargantua might be the giant monster that escaped his lab 5 years ago. He resists the idea because, while this monster is eating people, when he knew him, the gargantua was friendly. Long story short, there are two gargantuas. The brown one is the nice one. The green one is a mean SOB who likes chomping on people. Somehow he survived 5 years without anybody noticing all these chewed up piles of clothes. If only they had an expert who studies giant animals around. So now the military wants to find and kill these two giant monsters who don't actually get along very well. The faces of the monster costumes are different enough that you can tell them apart, but they're both pretty ugly. The green one has the same bad teeth as Frankenstein from the previous movie. The brown one, who is the good guy because Toho's so progressive, but he's just as hideous. Ugh. The miniature buildings are fakey, but the monsters are kind of interesting. The highlight of the movie, of course, is the scene where Red-Headed Occidental belts out the hit single, "The Words Get Stuck in My Throat." It's a real showstopper delivered in the dining room of a ship in Tokyo Harbor, while this giant monster just kind of wades up to hear what's going on. Green guy picks her up, really considers chomping on her. Alas, this flick was made in less enlightened times, and the cowardly studio thought race riots would break out across the land if a green dude ate a white one. The other notable attribute is the monster's grunt or sneezing sound that I mentioned earlier. The two of them sound like they have deviated septum. About half an hour into War of the Gargantuas, the green gargantua is walking around an airport, making that goddamn sneezing sound they make. He looks through a window, sees a scared woman, grabs her, and we cut to a shot of cloud cover breaking up, revealing the sun, which the green dude does not like. Okay, so we cut back and see him chewing as best he can chew with a permanently open mouth. He spits something out, and the camera zooms in on the woman's chewed up clothes on the ground. They're not bloody, but a couple shots later, we see some flowers on the ground, like someone dropped them at some car crash memorial. Green Gargantua wants to get back to the ocean to hide, but unlike Godzilla, this guy books it across the runway, his arms up like some elderly dude doing stretching exercises. His feet pound on the tarmac as he runs towards the viewer. That is the shot that made this thing a creature out of a nightmare. This should be on your watch list if you love kaiju but don't want another lizard-like monster. Climax is spectacular enough, but you can easily see where someone checked his watch and said, okay, let's wrap this up. Akira Ifukube's dragging brass music adds to the nightmarish visuals at first, but it gets really repetitive. After the brown one rescues the green one's all kind of banged up. The brown one comes back and finds the green one sleeping. And then he notices that there are clothes on the ground, which means the green one has had a snack of some humans. The brown one grabs a hold of a tree and raises it in a threatening manner. And then the green one kind of looks at him and just looks back down and closes his eyes like, no, I'm not up for this shit right now. Don't give me a hard time. And just in that one little moment, it shows the characters of these two dudes. It will help his brother or his son, whatever you want to call him. But there's some things he just won't tolerate. You know, leaving his clothes all over the place. Really see the hostility in the face of the brown one in that scene. He protects him. I can make fun of my brother and I can beat him up, but you can't. He's family after all. Thanks for stopping by. Drop by again sometime. Leave a comment or suggestion.